Good night, sweet dreams. Yes, I do. Well, that's so sweet of you, Wendy said, and sat with Peter on the side of the bed. I can give you a kiss if you like, Wendy declared. But Peter had no idea what a kiss was supposed to be and held his hand out expectantly. Surely you know what a kiss is? A stunned Wendy asked. I'll know when I get it, Peter said stiffly, and she gave him a thimble so that his feelings weren't hurt. Shall I give you a kiss now? Peter asked. If you please, Wendy replied, and he simply dropped an acorn button in her hand. Seeing Peter's kiss, Wendy said she would wear his kiss on the chain around her neck. How old are you, Peter Pan? Wendy inquired. I don't know, Peter replied uncomfortably, but I am very young. After some thought, he confessed in a low voice to a surprised Wendy. I ran away the day I was born. This was because I overheard my father and mother talking about what I'd be when I became a man. You see, Wendy, I don't want to be a man ever. I always want to be a little boy and have all the fun in the world. So I ran away from home to Kensington Gardens to live with the fairies. Wendy had always been curious to know more about fairies, and she asked Peter many questions, which he happily answered. There should be one fairy for every boy and every girl, Peter stated finally, and then remembered Tinker Bell and that she was rather quiet. I don't know where Tink has disappeared, Peter said, and called for her by name. Wendy's heart fluttered with a thrill. Peter, she grabbed him. Do you mean to say that there's a fairy in this room right now? Well, she was here right now, Peter said a little restlessly. "Hmm, do you hear her?" They both listened carefully. "The only sound I hear is the tinkle of bells," Wendy said after a while. "I hear it too," Peter said. "That's Tink, speaking in the fairy language." The sound emerged from the chest of drawers, and Peter made a happy face. "Wendy," he whispered, "I think I shut Tink up in that drawer." Peter released poor Tink from the drawer immediately, and she flew about the nursery, screaming with rage. "You shouldn't say such awful things, Tink," Peter said to her. "I am so sorry, but how was I to know that you were in the drawer?" "Oh, Peter," Wendy exclaimed. "If only she would be still for a moment so I could get a good look at her. They hardly ever stand still," Peter said. But Wendy spotted Tinker Bell for a moment as she rested on the cuckoo clock. "Oh," Wendy exclaimed. Even though Tink was still angry, Peter was again bombarded by Wendy with questions. "Where do you live now?" "With the Lost Boys." "Who are the Lost Boys?" "They are the boys who fall out of their perambulators when their nurse is looking the other way," Peter replied. "If they are unclaimed in 7 days, they are sent away to Neverland. I am their captain." Then Peter confessed to Wendy that he was lured to the nursery window to listen to stories. "I don't know any stories," Peter explained. "None of the Lost Boys do." "That's so awful," Wendy exclaimed. "The other day your mother was telling such a lovely story." "Which one was that?" "It was about this prince who couldn't find the lady wearing the glass slipper," Peter exclaimed. "Oh," Wendy exclaimed excitedly. "That was Cinderella, Peter. You see, the prince found her, and they lived happily ever after." Peter was so happy that he rushed to the window immediately. "Where are you going?" Wendy cried. "To tell the other boys." "Don't go, Peter," Wendy pleaded. "I know many such stories." Well, there can be no denying that it was Wendy who first tempted Peter with those very words. Peter returned, and there was a greedy look in his eyes. Wendy shouldn't have been frightened, but she wasn't. Oh, the stories I could tell the boys, she exclaimed instead. Peter grabbed her and began to pull her towards the window. Let me go, Wendy ordered him. Do come with me, Wendy, and tell the other boys your stories, Peter requested. Well, Wendy was rather pleased to be asked in that fashion. Oh, no, I cannot, she said. Mummy will be all alone. Besides, I can't fly. I shall teach you, Peter offered. I will show you how to hop onto the wind's back, and then away we shall go. Oh, Wendy exclaimed in amazed wonder. Peter had suddenly turned frightfully cunning now. How much we would all respect you, Wendy, he coaxed. Wendy was confused now and moved her body in distress. Peter Pan was irresistible. Oh, it's so fascinating indeed, Wendy exclaimed. I say, Peter, would you teach John and Michael how to fly as well? If you like, Peter replied indifferently, and Wendy ran immediately to shake the boys and wake them up. Wake up, she cried. Peter Pan is here and he is going to teach us how to fly. Then I shall get up, John said, rubbing his eyes. Hello, I'm up. Michael was up as well. But Peter suddenly signaled for silence, and everyone was quiet. Something seemed to be wrong. Nana, who had been barking sadly all evening, had gone quiet now. Lights out! Hide! Quickly now! John shouted. So when Lisa entered after a while, holding Nana, the nursery had returned to normalcy again. It was dark again, and Lisa was very angry, as she had been drawn away from the kitchen where she had been busy mixing the Christmas puddings by Nana's supposedly ridiculous suspicions. Lisa thought it would be best to get some quietude by escorting Nana to the nursery for a moment. Lisa addressed Nana. There you go, you suspicious brute. You can see for yourself that the children are perfectly safe, can't you? The angels are sound asleep in their beds. Can you hear their gentle breathing? The sad dog was tied up again. But do you think she stopped barking? Sadly, Lisa returned to her puddings, and Nana Sensing that no help could be expected from her, strained at her chain so hard that it finally broke. Then Nana ran speedily to storm into the dining room of 27, flinging her paws heavenwards. Mr. and Mrs. Darling became instantly aware that something was terribly wrong in the nursery. They ran into the street without as much as a goodbye to their hostess. But 10 minutes had elapsed since the three children had been hiding behind the curtains, and Peter Pan was capable of doing a great deal in 10 minutes. I say, Peter, can you really fly? John asked for coming out of his hiding place. In reply, Peter flew about the room without bothering to answer him. It looked delightfully simple, and the children tried it from the floor first and then from the beds. But sadly, they always went down, then up. Neither could fly even an inch. Actually, no one can fly unless the fairy dust has been blown on them. But, of course, the children were not aware of this. Thankfully, Peter's hands were still messy with the fairy dust, and he blew it on each of them with the most splendid results. Now, all you have to do is wiggle your shoulders like this, Peter instructed, and let go. They were all on the bed, and the brave Michael let go first. He did not actually mean to, but he did it, and was carried across the room. I flew, he shouted, even as he was mid-air. John too let go and met Wendy mid-flight near the bathroom. How lovely! Ripping! Look at me flying! Well, they were not elegant flyers like Peter Pan, but the good thing was that they could all fly now. Up and down, round and round. Heavenly was the word chosen by Wendy to describe the feeling. I say, can we all go out? John exclaimed. Yes, Peter had been luring them to this very act. The children were ready to fly away. That very moment, Mr. and Mrs. Darling rushed out of 27 with Nana. Running into the middle of the street, they halted to look up at the nursery window. It was still shut, but the room was greatly illuminated. But the most heart-stopping sight was that they could see the shadows of three little figures on the curtain, dressed in their night clothes. These figures were circling round and round, not on the floor, but in the air. No, there were four figures, not three. Mr. and Mrs. Darling rushed to the nursery and would have reached one time but for the little stars that were watching them. One more, they blew the window open, and that naughty smallest star shouted, "Cave Peter!" Peter knew then that not a single moment could be wasted. "Come," he cried regally, and immediately soared out like a bird into the dark night. He was followed by John, Michael, and Wendy. When Mr. Darling, Mrs. Darling, and Nana stormed into the nursery, it was too late. The birds had flown.